does kind of look uncomfortable when he goes.
He's swerving around on that right. So maybe you're right. Maybe his body position on the left hand side, because he struggles to come back. He's Derek Zoolander. He can't turn left. He keeps going right. Yeah, the
20 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't know that would existed until you.
I think they just started that. Did they start that this year, Jacko?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why this is
not working.
No, it is. Yeah. There was just an on-air flashing thing. I've never
Billy
seen
Slater did that 5 times a year and never got fucking carded all 10 of the best.
Have you ever seen
Let
Adam
alone
McDougall's one when he knees him in the chest in Origin?
No.
One of the greats. Speaking of Ravalawa, didn't he do one like a couple of weeks ago? He was diving through, but had the freshest kick in the world.
Remember big Vunivalu when he took the run back and just jumped?
Oh, just jumped. Who did he jump into, like Angus Crichton or someone?
He cleared him, whoever he jumped into. I
No,
remember
he-
he was
no,
just
he
charging.
didn't.
Yeah, he jumps like...
No, he didn't clear him, did he?
Through
I don't
the
think
tackles.
he cleared him.
Beauty Jackson's
Yeah,
back.
it was definitely Vunivalu.
Yeah, it was definitely silly.
I like that 20-minute rule though.
You
Red
like
card,
it?
20
Yeah,
minute
but he
rule.
can't come back into the game. So he's out of the game for the rest of the game.
Oh, yeah.
But then someone can come on
After 20.
There's only D-Mac though. They're the Melbourne Storm, the All Blacks, Their fullback goes and just bring on D-Mac.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the YKTR Sports Shows. As always, we're brought to you in the BodyScience Studio. You can get any of your BSC products from Coles. Joined as always by Skipper Scope and Ravaloa. Hey boys, what's up?
Hey, bro.
If anyone doesn't know what the Ravaloa one is, Jackson's got a few mistakes in him in and around the office. So Scope will sort of come through the other day and toss it up, and I thought it was a good one. So
Hey, but when he's on, yeah?
yeah,
True.
that's true. When he's on,
Can have
but
his day, but he's got a few brain snaps in him too.
few and far between. So today we're going to do a bit of a SWOT, almost like a SWOT analysis. Going to be talking about strengths, weaknesses, X factor, and predictions about all the finals games coming up. And go back to our host, Vintage Jackson. Let's go, baby.
What's up, boys? All right, we're going to start, obviously, with the game of the round. We'll start with you, Scope.
Yeah.
Mix up the flow a little bit.
Right.
Burgang up against the Melbourne Storm. Burgang are at $3.10 to Melbourne's $1.37. Strengths for you in this one?
All right, strengths for me. We'll start off with the Storm. They're the home team. It's pretty obvious.
What's home, though?
experience. Sunny Coast Stadium,
Sunshine Coast,
which I'm glad you asked, guys, and we didn't plan this. I ran into the great, the eighth immortal yesterday, having a coffee after I did my run. We passed each other.
Name drop.
Yeah, it's a little name drop. Yeah, big time. And
Mates of Immortals.
yeah, the eighth. Yeah. So anyway, he talked about the conditions, because I asked him about the game and what his thoughts were going to be on the game. And we obviously talked about how we mentioned him on Tommy Turbo and the post. I took the piss out of him a little bit with that.
The worst post ever,
Yeah. And no, he just talked about the conditions. He told me, he hasn't swayed me on my opinion, by the way, but he said the Sunny Coast Stadium's got a little bit extra dew on it. So, and then throw in the factor that it's pretty much been the Storm's home away from home for the last 18 months now. So they've, those little things matter when it comes into finals time. Just knowing how the ball's going to flow on kicks in particular, I think it'll really be
like dewy but a hard ground day.
Yeah. So he goes, if it was a day game, an afternoon game, he goes, I would have liked Manly's chances, but with it being a Friday night game, he goes, he's leaning towards the Storm. So that's the eighth.
Straight
stick there
from
for
the
you.
eighth.
Straight.
Like ATR Sports Special, that.
Yep. But just from my take on it, I'm just with the experience in big games across the board. Most of these guys have won a comp, obviously from last year. Number of them have played in multiple grand finals. So that's obviously the strength of them. It's pretty easy. For Manly, Turbo. It's hard not to they do have so many good weapons across the board, but with regards to Turbo, it's just, we keep talking about runs of players in the past and how momentum for a certain player can lift a team, like we've seen to the big dance. A team with a fullback that's been in that sort of form hasn't got the job done yet, but could Turbo be the exception to the rule this year?
Can only fullbacks go on those types of runs, you reckon?
It feels like it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, when you asked that question then, I was like, maybe.
Yeah. Obviously, Teddy's been consistent and got the job done, like being a fullback and had these sorts of seasons without
It doesn't feel the same though.
He does it more clinically. Like, he does it week in, week out, and he doesn't go... It's because he's great. His greatness has been consistent across the board for a long period of time that we probably don't notice it. But he has been putting up... Like, with those performances with the boys, Benny Barber and Hainsey in particular, like they had a real purple patch of about season. Season for Benny, 10, even less for Hainsey. And then with Turbo, it's been obviously since he's got his fucking hammies right, like he's got his body right. And you've always seen glimpses of this with Turbo. Yeah, I feel like he's in a really good spot. Like, I was worried about that, jinxing him at one point throughout the season, so I don't want to talk him up too much because that's the way I think. But he's got a really good routine now and his body's in really good shape. He's obviously off the piss. But back to the point about just with Teddy, like Teddy, and Billy Slater is another one, obviously. Like those guys have been really good fullbacks that have won the comps, won daily M's. But you just don't really think about like in like a smaller portion of form like that because they've done it so consistently. So for me, yeah, I think Turbo, this is a crucial game. Straight off the bat, whoever wins this game puts himself in a really good position to make the grand final because they avoid Penrith. But those are my two strengths for both teams, Ice.
For me, Storm, I'm going Craig Bellamy. I think coaching matters. We've been talking about this off air, not even just in this game, but about across multiple sports. There's probably nothing he hasn't really seen when it comes to finals and anything like that. Obviously, they're not in form, but he understands the ebbs and flows of sports. Like you can't be up for that long, like you know what I mean. Like I know Manly has but for a while, but it's like a whole new competition starts again when it comes to finals as well. So it'd be interesting to see how he approaches it. I think his coaching against Tommy Turbo is going to be something special for me. Manly, I just like their attack. They're so like when you do video on Manly, their attack can come from so many variations, and we touched on Fozzie and Turbo's combination. He's also got a combination with his brother Jake, who can go inside ball. He's also got a combination with DCE as well. So for me, their strengths are they're so diverse. They get so many different looks. When you look up, they can play from anywhere. They can play from back half of the field. They can score tries on your own line. Man, they're special. They're a special team. So for me, that's their strengths.
Yeah, for sure. Because some teams try to attack at different parts of the field. Like you can tell Rabbitohs predominantly left and teams have a style. With Manly, it's hard to predict because they do have genuine good shape all across the board, even starting from their middles.
And they just get rolling. I think it's a good point you make on the purple patch of form, probably standing out more than a season like Teddy.
Yep.
Does it put a stain on his career that, like the reason why we appreciate those ones because Benny Barber done it for the Bulldogs, Hainsey done it for, like, you know what I mean? Hainsey done it for Parramatta. If Teddy had done this for the Tigers,
but I think
is this the KD Warriors conversation?
It's possibly. I think it's more like when I look at Teddy, you probably liken Teddy's season more like Roger 2018. One's the Dally M, but you don't remember it as a historically amazing season. He was good the whole way, but he didn't have that super purple patch of form, and he was on one of those lesser teams.
Say someone else picks up the Dally M. Do you reckon they just hand it off to Tommy? Or
Nath. It's only going to be Tommy or Nath.
What about someone like a Cody Walker or sneaky Jerome Hughes or someone that's played that the whole season and collected points up?
Scopes talked about this before. I think the only thing stopping Hughes would be he'd be sharing points with Nico and Money all year. Yeah. That would be it. Like
Cody Walker with Latrell.
Tommy's collecting three.
Ren's kicking games sometimes.
Yeah. But so say if Cody Walker.
What do you mean hand it off? Like just
imagine imagine if you won a Dally M and like you just know Tommy's had the best season. Imagine if someone just goes,
so if you're sitting there in the top four, okay.
No, you're up there on the speech and you just go, like I've won the Dally M, but to be honest, man, Tommy, like you probably deserve this. This is probably the best. Imagine that.
I'll be taking it.
Yeah, I'm taking that every day of the week.
What about weaknesses in this one, Scope? Where are you going?
All right, weaknesses. I've mentioned this a couple of times on previous shows. The right edge is, it's not a normal weakness for other teams where, like, you know, at one point Parramatta's right edge was awful for a while. They've fixed that up a little bit as well. But when you look at it's very hard to break this team down 1 to 17. There's not many weaknesses. So for me, I've talked about it before. I'd be looking to not attack, but lay the line on Melbourne's left edge, and then be swinging the ball from right to left for the Manly. I think. So
you like a better off a longer percentage, or okay,
because then with that opportunity,
and that suits Manly to a T.
Well, Melbourne are clinical at like a 5-5 split.
Yeah.
Like once they got even numbers and Jerome Hughes can sort of dictate or read the play, he does a really good job. So with going from a wider position, you sort of take the decision out of Jerome's hands in a way, because therefore if there are more people on the inside having to make that decision, Like, again, Felice Kafusi's on the inside, so he's very rarely going to make a bad decision. But for me, it's got to be the inexperienced players in big games of footy of George Jennings, potentially who'll be on the right edge, and Remus Smith. And the other one is, a little bit with our mate Lumi on the left edge.
Me and Sco love him, though. He just gives us a giggle.
Yeah, he's a bit of a giggle because he's sort of like, he's that unpredictable player in Melbourne where you just don't know what he's going to toss up. I swear sometimes when it looks like he's running, like, I think he can't slow down. Like, he's that quick.
You ever watch the Mighty Ducks, DT Mighty Ducks?
Yeah.
And there's that guy who can't brake properly?
Yeah, he can't hit the skate. So for me,
bro, he might be a left side winger.
Could be, yeah.
It does kind of look uncomfortable when he goes.
He's swerving around on that right. So maybe, you're right, maybe his body position on the left-hand side, because he struggles to come back. He's Derek Zoolander. He can't turn left. He keeps going right. So, so he could be like, we'll see what happens, but like I'm avoiding Justin Olam and the Prez. If the Prez ends up playing too, that'd be massive if he doesn't play. And for me, Manly, it's discipline, and discipline in a couple of different areas. So not only just holding the ball, not giving away simple, shitty little penalties. Sometimes when I watch Manly, because I know them and I know the system a little bit better than other teams, is that just making sure the players are getting to the right spots. And this is what Melbourne do really well. Christian Welsh isn't afraid to have a 2-metre carry to get to a tram to make sure they get a good shot. Whereas I've watched Manly players before, because they've got so much footy, there's been a bit of clunkiness in defined roles there. Like, Dylan Walker comes on and he likes to play a bit of footy. Jakey can play with the footy. Joshy Schuster loves playing with the footy. Marty Tapel he runs all over the shop. Like, he can run 15 metres sideways to go 15 metres.
Almost like Fafita, eh?
A bit like that. So with all that becomes a bit of clunkiness and not getting to the right spots. Like, they've got to be disciplined in how they approach and set up their shots for me. So that'll be massive. And then making sure that those guys that I talked about are effective. So when they do get their when Joshy Schuster gets his shot on the left to attack the right, Dylan Walker comes on. He's thinking, more run first before pass, and
good point.
And
really
Jakey
good point.
Trbojevic. So that'll be big for me.
For me, it's form. Obviously, we hold Melbourne on a higher standard than most people. Obviously, like when you've got a gun player, his good games and bad games, very few far between. But they're just not in there as good as what they should be playing rolling into the finals. And obviously, they had a pretty good game last week, and it was great to see Pappy in back in form. But also just would love to see them just like almost when Melbourne roll into the finals, they should almost be like, yep, they're going to win. Yeah. And I don't really feel that. I know opposition is a big part of this, but for me, they're just not quite where I think they should be, and it's but who knows? Like we said before, it's kind of just a whole new competition. For me, weaknesses for Manly are their expansive style, where your biggest strength is always your biggest weakness for me. Like Schuster, I think Schuster's sitting there right now going, "Fuck, I'm about to take on Melbourne. Like, what's the big play I can come up with?" When you're young, you think like that. Like, I used to think, bro, wait till I get this chip and chase back. And like,
how many chip and chases did you pull off?
20s. I almost got hooked because I'd done 3 in the first half. So, like, that sort of style is great when everything's going well, but when you got Melbourne pushing you and kicking you into the corners, sometimes that expansive style can get you in a bit of trouble. You try and pass your way out of trouble, which I don't think is always the best case. So I think their biggest strength could also be their biggest weakness.
Interesting.
X Factor scope. Prediction. Final prediction.
We'll go X Factor and then we'll get the prediction to finish off. So the X Factor for me is I've got pretty much single players all the way through for the rest of the things, but it's the Cheese and Harry combination. So Brandon Smith to start the game, if he does, I
think he has to.
Yeah, but there's the old spanner where sometimes you never know with Bellamy. He could, make a late decision and Harry. I don't know any information about that. But if everything goes to plan, Cheese starting the game, and then, like I said, when Harry comes off the bench at that 25-minute to 30-minute mark, it is crucial that Manly do a job on him. But I haven't seen any evidence of it from anyone being able to stop him yet. Since they've played together.
Only time is when they stopped themselves, when Grant was a bit off when he started 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
That's the only thing that stopped him is coming back from injuries or form or whatever. But once they've got their the runs under the belt, and they're flowing nicely.
Scary.
I think
Yeah, it's very
Parramatta tightened the screws on them a little bit.
Yep.
But if you
couple
tighten
weeks
up your
ago.
middle, you just open up the wide. So
That's what they did.
it's-
And they just couldn't get wide. But
Yeah.
They did. I think they did the best job I've seen on Harry Grant in a hot minute.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. So Cheese and Harry, they're the X factor though. It's very hard to stop because they can pop up anywhere, and they're relentless, and they're fit, and all sorts of things. Your guy that you mentioned that could be.
I'm going Jerome Hughes. I think a lot of the light will go on Pappy and Cheese and Munster if he plays, and Grant. So everyone's going to be looking there. The thing I love about Jerome Hughes is the way he sort of runs the ball. So he'll get a double shape like that and he'll be out the back. So he uses the pass to get him on the outside, and then he just cranks off his right. So I think he's in for a big game, bro. I think he'd be looking forward to this. It's sort of like sometimes, when Klay Thompson gets hot, it's just because they're looking at KD and Steph. I think he's that guy for them.
Yeah.
When everyone's looking at someone else, he's just going to crank off his right and go through. He's got some beautiful touches when he's in line breaks as well. He can sort of shape the ball up well and just put it onto it and then get it through. Man, I think he's in for a big game. Obviously, depends if Munster plays. Munster steadies the ship up. He's got X factor. I think when Nico Hines plays at 6, it's not as flowy. And I don't think Pappy's got that flow with him and off the back of shape. But I think Jerome Hughes can do some pretty cool things coming off that right foot and squaring up. So I'm going him, and Manly's just obviously turbo, isn't it?
Jeez, I love that analogy. I love that Klay Thompson, man.
Man, I love the Klay Thompson analogy as well. And I'm happy for Jerome that he's finally getting not recognition from us, but like when we did Head on the Plate, majority of the comments were for fucking Jerome Hughes and to shut Jerome Hughes down. So it's good to see that he's getting that league-wide notice from not only us players that have played it before, but fans are starting to take notice for how important he is for that team. For me, you said
He's quick, eh?
He's quick as, bro. He's an ex-fullback,
Little headgear just going.
Yeah, he's got the little duck underneath too, like the little show and go. It's a bit like fucking, he's sort of got JT's dummy and go, like dummy, duck, and fucking come underneath him.
Watch him when he gets out of the back of the doubles, because you know how the back rower has to double D that lead as well? Yeah. Bro, he just gets it off the back and just catches it wide and just goes crank. And
like you got Joshy Schuster last game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Joshy Schuster's my X factor. You mentioned Turbo. Josh Schuster, for the same reasons that you said, Ice, making sure that he doesn't overplay his hand, because I feel like, obviously, because I said Melbourne's weakness is the right edge and I want him to attack it, his play selection is crucial on also.
I think Fozzie's got to take the play selection out of his hands.
Yeah, also,
Early.
So giving him a couple of plays, and then also when it's his time to run a nice solid line and make sure he can set it up for others. So they've got little variations where they can do some drops, which is nice, where he comes back and links up through the middle. But like you said, for me, he's the X factor as long as he doesn't overplay his hand. Like if he can play a nice solid game, but I don't want to fully take, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to take that ability away from him. But like you said, I think early on, I want to see the ball in Fozzie's hands a little bit more on. And as they start to fatigue in the back end of halves, that's when I want Joshy Schuster to be touching the ball.
Does the game open up for Fozzie a little bit? We're looking at Schuster. We've got Tommy at the back. Does it open up for him? I think Melbourne's D system's too solid. They press up from the inside really, really hard. So, yeah, who knows?
Predictions. Scope, we'll start with you.
Despite the 8th, saying that
Going against the greatest.
again, just mentioning that I ran into the 8th and we had a good chat about footy.
The 8th, yeah.
Manly by 1, a DCE clutch field goal.
What foot?
Any.
Fake right,
onto the
fake left, come back to the right. No, just a field goal. I don't know how he's going to get it. It's going to be a close game. But my play for the game will be either team under 10.5, because I think it's going to be a close game.
I think the start's 8.5 for Manly.
Yeah.
$1.90. I know that. I don't think it's the start.
So you like the start? Yeah, I'm banking on. I like that 20-point swing for either team, because I think it's going to be close and there's not going to be much in it. With what Joey said with the conditions, how it's going to be a little bit slippery and it might be a bit of a forwards play early on and kicking battle. So Ches and Jerome and Munster and Foz are going to have to kick really well in this game.
Melbourne 18-14. I've gone off the back of that.
Bit of Java.
I've just taken. I've got my points up here, and I've just changed him. The scope was looking at
26. When he said 18-14, I went, "What the fuck?" I can see on the screen.
No, actually, I'll back my. Man, never mind the 8th.
Yeah,
I'll back me.
Yeah, that's a good
26-20 to Melbourne. I just think they'll get up for this game. It's finals. Them boys don't fuck around when it comes to finals.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Sweet. You've got Panthers Rabbitohs next on your list, so So you're not following the
No,
actual
you're not
games?
following it. You're down here. I can see you.
Oh, am I?
Roosters
Where am I?
Titans.
Oh,
Come on,
Roosters
man.
Titans.
This is Ravalawa, I'm telling you, bro.
We'll start with you then. I see as you know what direction the show's going. Strengths in this one: Roosters v Titans.
Yeah, the boys from the hometown, Roosters. Fuck, people are going to get angry if I change sides, eh? Strengths for me, I'm going coaching experience again. I think there's only really 3 really good coaches in the comp right now. Trent Robinson, I know he builds teams around his season. And to get the most out of these guys off the injuries that they've had has been sort of a crazy as well. So, yeah, you already know what the Roosters going to do. They're not going to beat themselves. They've got some quality players. Jared comes back as well, so I'm excited for that. I think Teddy really steps up. All this chat around Tommy. When you've been the main guy and you start hearing about someone else.
He did it at the start of the year with all the Pappy hype, pre-Origin as well.
I reckon he was carrying a little injury coming out of Origin as well, which sort of pulled him back. But he's starting to really find form the last 2 or 3 weeks.
But there was
Is his shirt always shorter than everyone else's?
the Stephen Donald.
I feel like his shirt's always small, eh?
Yeah, Beaver always.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it must be a wide base or something. I feel like his shirts. But for me, the strengths for Titans is inexperience. And I know that's sort of seen as a
counterintuitive.
I feel like I think they're rolling up excited. I think Campbell's going to be pumped after the back of the last game, and they're just going to
buzzing, man.
They'll be buzzing, bro. He's like 5 games and he's playing in fucking finals against the Roosters. Growl. So I'm just going to bank on that. I know they got a couple guys that have Tino. They'll be leaning on him for a bit of experience. Mudders Wallace, he's part of that crew where when they've got their team behind the goalposts, Kevy Proctor, they're the guys that they'll be listening to. But would that be enough to beat the Roosters? I don't know. But I think they just bounce around.
Do stupid question. Do matches change for finals? Do you get more?
Nah, same.
No,
damn.
same.
I was going to say he'd be really buzzing if he's done a little top up. Scope strengths for you in this one, Roosters at the Titans.
Very similar, mate. Very similar. I've put down maturity. So like Ice mentioned as well, he sort of had the same point. They're not going to beat themselves. Like when you look at this lineup, James Tedesco, Josh Morris, Daniel Tupou, Jared Warrior-Hargraves, Angus Crichton, like those guys, their experience, they played in these games. And the strength is very similar as well. I put unpredictability for the Titans. So we're definitely on the same wavelength here. But the thing, so it's going to go in 2 ways. Like Titans are going to, I don't know what Titans are going to toss up because
I don't think the Titans know what the Titans are going to toss up.
They've beaten teams by 40 against like the Warriors and then lost by 40 like this year. Like the Roosters don't really toss up those sorts of performances. So I'm banking that, you know, with both strengths, probably the Roosters will outweigh the Titans because they'll just kick the feet up and keep doing what they're doing. And they just say if the Titans come out and they put a couple of tries up early like they did against the Storm, Roosters aren't going to panic. Like they're not that sort of team that go, fuck, we need to chase these points straight away.
Who stops Adam Kieran this week?
No one can stop those quads, man.
He's good, bro. He's a footy player,
nice, bro.
He's a footy player.
Yeah, he is nice. So the maturity of the Roosters is their strength for me, and the unpredictability of the Titans.
And James Tedesco's short shirt.
I think a bit of the money people must be getting on that unpredictability for the Titans because they opened at $5.50 and they're into $4.
Ooh.
So people are jumping on them.
There's been a push. Probably, I
push.
reckon it would be more indicative of people smashing the line.
Start, yeah.
I reckon the line was too
11,
big.
I think.
Yeah, the line was too big for me.
Yeah. Ice, what about weaknesses in this one?
I've gone halves. Obviously, just lack of experience for the Roosters as well. I've been a big fan of everything Drew Hutchison's done this year with Blake Green 2.0, which we've started to call him around here. Just very nice and steady. I think he'll be excited for this. Like we said, he was a gun junior coming through. He would have won competitions and he wouldn't have played finals. So to see himself in this sort of position right now, I think it'd be exciting for him. But I still see it as a bit of a weakness. Like you're using 3 players to do 2 players' jobs. You know what I mean? Sam Walker will come on and do his thing. Lamb's solid little player as well, but it's just like when it starts getting tough, you know Teddy's going to be there. Does he get first receiver ball?
When do you see them throwing Sam Walker? And they've kind of exclusively stuck to that late second half. Do you think he could come in earlier if they're chasing points or anything like that?
Don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Just let it roll. There's enough points in the Roosters without him there. Just get him in late. For me, Titans, sort of what Scoped on touched on as their strength, I said is their weakness. You just don't know which Titans are going to turn up. That's basically it. It's almost like a flip of the coin. A lot of coaches say that the team's got a soft underbelly. That's them. They're like they're not
as good front runners.
good front runners. But even times they've been up by 3-4 tries, they'll get chopped in the next 20 minutes. And then it's like, so you just can't do that with the Roosters because they'll pump you.
Yeah. Scope weaknesses for you?
Once again, we're on the same page. I'm going Mudders Hutchinson and Lockie Lamb had unreal seasons, regular seasons, but the finals is a different beast.
Who are they going up against?
That's
Peachy
the thing. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's what comes into it. But I'm talking about more probably long term. They'll probably, if you know, I'll get to my prediction. I've got the Roosters winning this. So therefore, going into bigger games, coming up against the likes of potentially Melbourne or Manly, I think that's where it will show, their inexperience. But like I said, they've done a great job. Pretty similar to you, so no point to keep drubbing down on it. For Titans, it's ability to stay in the arm wrestle. So, what that means, there's going to be tough periods. When everything's going well for them, and potentially, Dave Fafita comes off the bench and they've got a 12-point lead, and he scores a try and it goes to 18. If it's fucking like 0 or 6 by the time Dave comes on the field, and then teams have been getting after Fafita. It's weird. Like when he comes on, they attack him. Like a couple of weeks ago, Mitchy Barnett went after him, and then even the Warriors. Who did they play? The Warriors. Yeah, they had a little crack at him. Mudders Curran was trying to get into him.
Even old Chanel got underneath a couple of times.
Yeah, Chanel got him. Yeah, that was who got him. But then he ends up scoring a try 2 plays later.
As soon as they're in the red zone, he's just fucking different.
I think you just gotta, when you play him, you just gotta kind of leave him alone.
Yeah,
you get him racked up, he gets more keen to play.
Yeah,
I remember the Warriors. Ivan Cleary said one time when they used to play Gordon Tallis, they used to just pat him on the back and stuff. Good run, bro.
Get under his skin.
Yeah, you don't want to get under his skin because once they get going, bro, they're hard to stop.
Yeah. What about the weaknesses?
X Factor. You're having a fucking shocker today.
I've got fucking Jordan Simi blowing me up.
Who cares?
Turn him upside down.
Yeah. For me, Teddy, short shirt Teddy. I think he'll be keen for this game. Obviously, all the chat around Turbo, he gets it done and is very influential. And for me, Titans, I'm going Peachy.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, like 5'8" Peachy. But the thing with Peachy, it's kind of like almost like Moises' game last Thursday where, they're probably the X factor, but sometimes if they try too hard, they can get themselves in trouble.
Yep. Yeah,
I know Peachy's got that inside of him, but he hasn't played finals in a few years as well. He's playing a little bit at... I think he just enjoys football and he's
enjoying playing 6.
He enjoys playing 6. I think it's better for him as well because he doesn't drift around the field like we touched on the other day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's just... I don't know. He's just a perfect hybrid player.
Yeah, it looks like he's having fun. I don't think he's
off contract too.
He's off contract, he's be back playing finals footy probably the first time since he left Penrith, like you said. So
he'd be the best 14.
Yeah, he'd be gone.
I think people have always said that about him. Yeah, but particularly in the modern game is what you're saying.
But the thing is, he's sort of become like the best 14, and therefore you have to get paid to become the best. But you ideally would like to develop. Probably your 14s and not overpay them. That's what maybe the
Roosters just did it with Connor Watson.
Yeah, I heard Fittler talk about it the other day. He goes, a good 14 is probably worth about 450, 500 at the moment. You can develop them if you got a development system like the Panthers do. But if you're a win now team like the Roosters, but you just get the best fellas in.
I'll give you an example then, because just while we're staying on this, would you pay? Just say the 2 guys I believe that I don't know if he's.
I'd pay Peachy 450.
What about if you could get Tyrone May for about 250, 300.
Yeah, 250 tops, top line. I don't think he's got as much points in him as Peachy.
Yeah.
So
but he's a rock solid 14.
Yeah, rock solid 14, can cover so many positions. Yeah, I'd give him a 250, 300.
See, that's where I think that's where
I'd give him a
believe he's still available. Yeah. Tyrone May as well. So there might be conversations where teams are looking do we go for this ex-player? It might not even be Tyrone May, but
here's another way to look at it. If you've got a 700k half and he goes down for 6 weeks, can Tyrone May do a third of his job? That's another way to look at it. And I think he can. I think he can. So, yeah, man, that 14 position is really important.
All right, my X Factors, I am going with Victor the Inflictor Radley. He's so important. He's obviously coming back. The reason he's an X Factor, because he's a swing player. This can go either way, babe. We were talking about this. When he's on and he's being aggressive, he sets the tone for the team. Obviously, Jared's back and he's, them 2 boys can bang together. But when Victor plays well and he keeps it nice and clean, he controlled aggression. He doesn't give away any silly penalties. Probably been the player in the comp that struggled to adapt to the rule changes the most out of anyone.
To be fair, I don't feel like a lot of his stuff's that
They
bad.
haven't been that bad, bro.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, they haven't been that bad. But see, what's happening now is he's got this reputation from the refs.
Yeah.
So he is like, whenever he's around anything, this happens, bro. Like, Robbo's right in this sense as well. When players become that player, or you give away a penalty, or you're lazy in the ruck. Like, refs used to tell me I was real slow around the ruck all the time before games. Like, or have little.
Was that your head ups?
Well, because my elbows and knees always do. But like, yeah, so little things like sometimes refs, they'll have when they do video review as well. So when they go and do their review, they'll look at a player and go, "Yeah, watch out for Radley's."
Of course.
Some players like to cheat, and they're like always potentially offline. So that's more sort of my point with that. But like,
it goes the other side. You know when say like the Burgess boys carry the ball and they knock it on.
Yeah.
Like, one of the refs go, oh, like
he's
got a history. He's got one in him.
Yeah. But like, yeah, so Victor Radley for me, if he can control it, he's a swing player for either team. But I think it sort of won't matter. With obviously the X factor for the Titans is David Fafita when he comes on at 25-30 minute mark. Like I said, if he can come on, if like I said, they're good front runners. If they've got a lead and he can come on and they can kick away again, there could be an upside on the cards. But obviously I don't see that playing out to start the game.
The way I see it going is bomb to
Jaden
Campbell. Because Roosters, out of the last 10 years, I reckon 90% of their kicks have been bombs. Like Mitchell Pearce used to always do it. That's just how they play. So it's just going to be bomb, landed on his head, pick him up. Angus Crichton will be down there. Jared will be down there. Victor Radley will be down there, picking him up. It'll just be too hard. Predictions-wise, Roosters 13 plus. Put the house on at 32-10.
Ooh, confident.
Oh, Bondi. Us Bondi boys got to stick together.
Scope.
This is how good the scope is, and I didn't look at I just got the line up too to have a look at the line. I got the Roosters by 12, and I looked at the line. I wrote that down, and the line's 11.5. Jesus, skipping those fucking odds. But yeah, so I got the Roosters by 12, and my best bet for this game is Daniel Tupou, anytime try scorer over little Corey Norman Thompson, little Corey Mudders Thompson over there for the Gold Coast Titans. That's a mismatch.
Corey's all right in the air, but he's just not.
He's not Daniel Tupou. Not many players are Daniel Tupou, but if you give away half a body's length, because that's pretty much how Tupes heightens Corey Thompson. I think old Mudders Hutchinson, he's been doing a good job at putting him right on the spot. Like
he'll put in a rubbish bin from 40 out. That bloke, yeah.
Little Karen, anytime.
Yeah, he's over on that edge
I've
as
got
well.
him for a little brace actually.
Is he?
Brace.
Yeah, I like
Brace.
him. Yeah.
Brian Kelly's on that side. He's a pretty rock solid defender.
Yeah, he.
Paddy Herbert, I don't know what he's going to toss up. He could be.
I reckon he's one of the most improved players,
bro. Like has real nice spurts, bro. For like, he's just one of those guys at the moment. He's got a little bit of still a little bit of rock in him, like a little bit of rock in that diamond. Yeah, but it's
the vintage Jackson of football.
It's getting better.
What jamming blokes?
So.
Right, jumping over then, Panthers v the Rabbitohs. Red hot favourites, Panthers, $4 for the Bunnies. Ice, where are you going strengths in this one?
Yeah, forwards. When you got TPJ and Liam Martin on the bench, it's pretty handy. I just like Panthers forwards. I've always talked about this, the diversity in their body shapes. They've all got like strong leg speed as well. And off the back of the best half in the comp, man, he just gets him rolling forward. And Api Kurosau, who's the most the trickiest 9 to fix up a marker to ever play. I'm going to say that. Ever. And even Cameron Smith has talked about how deceptive he is from that. I'm not saying he's the best hooker to ever play the game, but
that element.
Fixing up a first marker, bro, he's elite. He's elite. So for me, Panthers is the forwards.
Speaking of elite, do you want to do...
what about South?
Left side of Doom. Their attack goes all that way. Obviously, Hurt's not Evan Latrell, but I think they still go that way.
Yeah, for me, full strength Panthers team. I think the only player they're missing is the guy we just mentioned, Tyrone May. Charlie Staines is back in the extended squad, but looks like Matty Burton, Paul Moravsky and Crichton have beat him out to hold on to that spot. Panthers are humming, man. Panthers are full strength. It's hard to go against them, and I think Cleary's kicking game is going to have... He's already, like... Those South,
if you're going 1-for-1 kicking game, though, Wren can line up.
Yeah, so
really nice.
And I'm going to get to that a little bit later as well. How there's a slight weakness, but like how to expose that. But yeah, Cleary's kicking game. I'm sure they would have watched a fair bit of. I wonder if you even watch video from that last game.
No,
if
you don't watch it on.
Wayne Bennett strikes me as the type of guy to go, nah, fuck that. We don't want to give these young players like Jackson Paulo and Blake Taffy any more demons that, Latrell and Joshy Mansell had from that last game, where it's just, fuck, that was just an onslaught. So that's obviously a strength for the Panthers. The bench,
that's the first time you've seen a kicking game get someone off the field, eh?
Yeah.
You kicked them into a knee injury and a concussion.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
And it was his mate too.
Yeah.
Which makes it funnier.
Yeah, it's I would have been stoked to have come off the field if I was Mansell. I wouldn't want anything to do with it.
He literally ended his season from bombs.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's heading him sweet at the moment.
And you know what? You talked about Martin and Pangai Jr. coming off the bench for Penrith. Yeah, that's nice as well. But I don't mind fucking South's bench here. Dry Arrow, Thomas Burgess, Jacob Host, who's very versatile, and Uncle Benji coming off the bench. So if the Rabbitohs can do a half-decent job at the start of the game, there's some good ammunition coming off that bench. And I don't think it's going to make that big of impact, but it was hard to sort of find a strength outside of the X factor, which I'll get to a little bit later.
It surprised me a bit this year how Wayne has stuck with Benji on the bench every time he's been fit. I just assumed that as the season rolled on and we saw the benefits of that 14 being that peachy sort of Dylan Walker.
Does Cody Walker go to fullback and Benji?
See, that's a thing.
That could happen.
Because he's got Cody Walker. Cody Walker is his X factor because Cody Walker can be the 14 but start.
Yeah.
So like Benji
I think if their attack doesn't flow straight away, I reckon
Paul Taff
Paul Taff, he'll go straight to fullback.
Yeah, he hasn't been afraid to pull the trigger too early in games. And
he also doesn't get Benji on if they're flowing.
Yeah.
At all. He just doesn't get them on.
Yeah.
That'd be grouse if you're on matches, in your Benji.
Weaknesses for you, Ice.
Anger issues. Rabbitohs. They don't mind a bit of they remind me of Cronulla Sharks back in the day, but with way more talent. They can score more points. I feel like that sometimes when things don't go their way, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, a bit in that.
I think when things don't go their way, they can get caught up in fights, led by probably Cody Walker.
Yeah.
Loves a bit of a niggle as well, and I think he can throw them off their game as well. They start getting when you're angry and you're trying to ball play, you just don't see. It's like trying to drive a car fast, you just move quicker. You can't really see things going on in and around you, and I really feel like it affects their game as well. So for me, and obviously when Latrell's in there as well, he doesn't want a bit of a tussle, and Dane Gagai.
Oh yeah, big time.
Dane Gagai is getting ready to throw him.
Gags is thereabouts.
Even
the angry little man Rendiggity, he does it a little bit. He does a little bit more slowly. He'll come in and have a little bit of a chirp. You know how he had that interaction with Dewey, and he's that sort of guy. So he'll stand behind the fence and fucking poke fun at people. They've all got a bit of shit in their game, which I like.
And it's usually thereabouts. Yeah, Kalamatangi's another one who's there. But the thing about it is usually their best players. Sometimes your niggly guys are sort of your guys that aren't as good, that aren't as talented, and that's how they get by, and that's how they get into the NRL. With the Rabbitohs, it's their best players. Yeah. So it could be an issue.
I don't know. Weaknesses for Penrith.
Right side attack for me. Obviously, if you can shut down their left with Luai, they hide it really well where they go Isaiah Yao type block, Nathan Cleary, and then it pushes Edwards pushes Edwards to that just play a 2-on-1. If they can shut down the other side of it, and it takes Crichton out of the game. The way that they play football.
He's on the wing again, eh?
Yeah.
They're sticking with that.
But even if he roams, everyone's like, he should just roam, But if you're a left side defender and you look up and your right side's only got 3 players and one of them ain't the winger, you just throw your other guy over to the other side and you can there's only so much space on the other part of the field.
On that roaming thing, is it easy, the example
it's
everyone
a skill
uses,
set, bro. It's a skill set.
That's what I was about to say. Everyone uses Tommy as the example, but is it easier to roam from centre than wing, or is that not it?
Yeah, probably
centre.
Probably centre, because then if he roams and he has to get back and go back to kick chase as well, it gets a little bit messy. But yeah, definitely centre. But when you look up and you've got
Momirovski's been good. I'm not saying that, but
he's nice.
Yeah,
all of them are really good players.
Crichton just needs the footy.
They're just not. It's like when you're putting money on the roulette table and you've been on first third, second third, and third. If you break your field up like that, you're just focusing on left and your middle because Nathan and Jerome are there.
Yeah.
You're not really as worried about the other side, but they can still score points there as well, so which is interesting.
Weaknesses for you, Skip?
Yep. Weaknesses for me, and it hasn't been a weakness for him yet, but this is if I was I'm trying to put my coach's hat on here and how I'd attack because it's very hard to score against this team. I'd take some distance off my kicks, which I've talked about before. Dylan Edwards isn't the biggest fullback, just like Taff isn't.
Strong,
and then you talked about attacking Taff. He's strong. I'd take some distance of it, put the kick up, because and try drag Edwards back, because Edwards is elite at catching the ball and making a quick 20 metres. So that long distance kicking against Penrith hasn't been working. So
well, sometimes they have to because they're drilled up against their line.
Yeah, so,
you know what I mean?
Cleary's kicking the ball long and they feel like...
Ramp up, yeah.
So when you do get the opportunity, when there's a bit of an arm wrestle and you're just, say, on the 50 compared to like fucking 30, which some teams are, instead of trying to put him inside the 10 metres, I'd settle for the 20 if I was them, put the kick up to Edwards and fucking bum rush him, get into him, like have a conscious effort to go, all right, boys, this is our chance, because you got fucking Brian Toto coming next.
Can I try poke some holes in that from Toto's perspective? Teams have targeted kicking to Toto to try and take him out of that second carry.
Yep.
Do you not run that risk?
I'd do the same. I'd do the same to Toto. So just say I wouldn't kick the distance on Toto as well.
Yeah, right.
So it's the same scenario, whether it be Edwards or Toto.
Giving up 10 to
give up 10 to 15 metres, even 15.
Make it a contest.
To make it a contest, one, you get someone right in front of Toto so he can't wind up. He's still going to be effective because that's who he is, but it's the lesser of two evils, I guess, with Toto. So you take him out of that first carry as well.
He'll get the third or fourth if you take him out of
Yeah, I know. And he's going to be there. He's going to be there, and it's going to be hard to stop him. But fuck,
do you know where you stop Toto from? Your first marker has to be elite. Yeah. Like so whoever you make your first tackle, you have to go make Toto's second one as well. So you go for his legs.
But he comes back on the inside.
Yeah, I know, but you can't let him come on your inside. Yeah. But you go for his leg. But then it's also you got to be brave.
Yeah, you got to be great because you get those fucking quadzillas right in the neck and fucking beauty CTE.
He's gone off for a head knock.
Yep, and weaknesses for the Rabbitohs is the size of their back five compared to, like, we talk about the strength of fucking Penrith across the board, big bodies. I'm looking at Jackson Paulo's not the biggest guy. Even Gags is strong, but he's not a big body. You know,
shut your mouth on Gags.
Apart from Campbell Graham, you know I love Gags, baby. Shit. Alex Johnston's he's a great try scorer, but not the greatest at carrying the ball and yardage, and when they're pinned up against the line, because generally Latrell gets him a lot of fucking those big carries or gets him on the front foot, and then he's really good after that. But little black taffy. Just a really small back five, so I think that is a part of the game. With Nafe's kicking game, putting it in the corners and then picking them up and dragging those outside backs, I think that's a real weakness for South.
I remember Corey said one time that it's a good kick when their feet up sit in the ground like fullbacks. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they're like, you watch Kalen catch some of the kicks and he's like ends up on the ground a lot.
Yeah.
He said like in this level, if you can get him in a standing sort of spot, that's like a really good kick.
Yeah.
So and like Nafe's every kick's like that.
Yeah.
X Factor. Sorry, bro.
It's battle of the sevens for me. Probably Nathan Cleary gets a lot more light on him, which he should be, because he's probably one of the most complete players we've seen in a long, long time. But also Adam Reynolds as well. When he went off the field with his sore knee, bro, their attack was clunky as fuck.
They scored as soon as he came back on.
Yeah, as soon as he comes back on. So one, he takes a lot of pressure off everyone else because he can kick the ball and he can get you in positions where you can compete and defend and work yourself into a game. But off the back of their shape, he's the guy that usually touches the ball first and digs deep into the line as well, which frees up a Cody Walker as well. So he might be if they score tries, he might have touched the ball 3 times before that. But that first touch sets up the rest of it as well. So if you got Alex Johnson scrambling for the corner and someone's diving for him and he just reaches it, that half a second that he's got or that second he's got has been created by Adam Reynolds, and I think it's a slept-on part of the game. I think Nathan Cleary speaks for himself. We don't have to touch on him. We know what he's going to do. He's going to fucking kick the fuck out of you and take you on and set some players up. So got to try and stop him. That's the other part of it.
You get about $3 any time for Nath as well in this one. Where are you going, Scope?
He always scores late, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's a really good scoring late. And I had a look at Nath too, and I was off myself for Kurt Capewell. My guy Kurt
for me over the weekend.
Kurt Capewell's got me back because I was calling him Luke for so much of the season. So I think that's what happened there. I'm going the Sixers and the left edges of doom. Obviously, the South one speaks for itself. It's been the most dominant edge in rugby league this season, I believe, with Alex Johnson taken out, fucking leading try scorer. That's easily the best edge, and even without Latrell, Cody will get majority of the ball from, like I said, from Ren linking up, and Jerome's and Matty Burton are really starting to find themselves in the last couple of weeks with Nafe, because Nafe hasn't been like attacking wise, as in coming up with plays down that right edge. It's been his kicking game and his aggression on the ball, and he's sort of just been throwing it to Jerome and Matty Burton, who have come up with some big plays. So I feel like both sides' left edges, I've got the left edges of doom for both sides. They're the X factors. Because I know Penrith are going to be solid across the board. Can Rabbitoh's left edge give us 3 of the best, 4 of the best? Like
They have to.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to be any chance to win. So
Jerome's been elite at the old building pressure and forcing set restart after set restart. Like he dribbles it in so well, man.
One of the coolest looking hospital balls I've ever seen.
Hospital
To Liam Martin. Yeah. That was styly though. That mad stop into a goosey into dropping off. Poor dude got eaten. Let's talk about the coaches though. They're a bit of a coach off as well. Wayne Bennett versus Ivan. Ivan's still chasing that first ship. Wayne just gonna be Wayne, isn't he?
Fuck, there's some good coaches left.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
As we know.
Who's that? It's just delivery. That's all right. Cool. We'll start with you, Skip. Then we'll move to predictions. We'll go back to Ice. But where are you going with this one?
It is my bet and it is my prediction. Don't have the scoreline. Panthers 13 plus.
Yeah,
and you can get that $2.05.
Hey, bro. Yeah, I'm on the podcast, bro.
What was he saying?
Life of the podcast, eh?
He's just waving. Hey, bro. Panthers 13 past 36-18. Both really good kickers. None of them will miss.
Ooh, I love these exact predictions too.
Someone's going to back him and then bag me.
We'll jump across. This is the Scope v Ice Cup, this one. Eels versus Knights. We'll start with you here, Ice. Strength, your boys taking on Parramatta. What do you see it going?
I think Eels form at the right time. They're sort of rolling in. They've had a pretty good couple of weeks. And even like last week when they had no one there, they still went all right with the Young Bucks as well. So form at the right time for me. Knights, just my boy Caelan. I think it's also going to be my weakness as well with kind of a one-trick pony. But if we're any chance of getting out of this game or this first round of the finals, Caelan has to be the guy. And he has to probably play like a 12 out of 10. And we need Mitchell to be like a 9 and Connor to be a 9. Everyone else to be around 7 and 8.
Skip.
Strengths for the Parramatta Eels. We talked about it last week again. It was a perfect game for the Eels last week. The young boys in that team that played, they got pumped by the Panthers, but fuck, they had a crack for a good 40 to 60 minutes. Like those boys, some of these guys have earned themselves a position in the game this week. Like we talked about it, they're rested, they're confident. They had 2 good wins before the Reggies went out and got pumped by the Panthers, so they'll still be confident, mate, and I think they'll be raring to go for this one. And with the Knights, I thought they've been a bit scrappy, but the more I looked at it, I think they're pretty battle-hardened. I feel like they've been in finals mode for about 8 weeks now, which should suit them well. They haven't been pretty in the way that they've won games, but they've won games. Like that's important to remember because they played teams that needed to beat them to also make the finals in the Titans and some of these teams at the back end. So, they had the easiest schedule out of a lot of teams and you wanted them to win by more in those games against the Bulldogs and those games against the Broncos and whatnot, like where they got beaten. But they did enough to get in. They limped into the finals, but they're there now and they're battle-hardened. So, that's my strength for them.
I just hope they wear that old school uniform, like when the stripes are going down.
Yeah, it's
and the collar.
No, you mean the actual stripes?
The vertical stripes. If they're wearing that other one, we're no chance. I'm big on uniforms. Obviously, Parramatta rolled out round one.
I like the Miners ones, eh? I know everyone thinks they're rank.
They
always seem to play well in them. Yeah, Caelan looks dope in it. Weaknesses for you, Ice, in this one?
Weaknesses, like I said before, I just see which Eels will rock up as well. That they're not the notoriously best side into the finals, and even when they've had great sides, they seem to find a way to fuck it up. Hopefully that doesn't happen for them for the blue and gold. But you just don't know which ones are going to rock up. Are they going to start passing it around, or are you going to get the ones where they're running directly through you as well? Weaknesses for me for Knights, we're just kind of Caelan dependent. And if Caelan's on and everything's humming and there's going to be plenty of points there, but if they're able to shut him down, like we go back to Mitchell Pearce, who's going to do his job and kick really well. And what's 5'8" name? Clifford. He's really good as well. Like his kicking game can get us into there. I just don't think we've got enough points in us at the moment.
Us. It's Bondi us. Roosters.
How far
Newcastle. I'm still Newcastle
for this year.
Until season's end.
So you're riding. Both your teams are going to get knocked out this week.
No, they're not.
Scope, weaknesses for you?
Weaknesses for me, and I love him. I'm going to say this first of all. He earned his spot last weekend with a fucking real tough performance, Ray Stone. But I know he's come on and spelled Reid Marnie for a little bit in the past, but I thought, is Joey Lussick injured?
I had a look
I'm
because
not
when
too
you
sure
said
why
that,
he's-
I haven't seen anything saying injury. He just
Yeah.
looks out, but I'll double check.
I get the idea. I sort of know, like, a bit, knowing how BA thinks, like the physicality of it all. Like this, I feel like this game's going to be one in the middle, and that's where I'll get to my X factors a little bit later on. But Ray Stone, he's not going to be a threat out of dummy half with regards to running or squaring up.
Does he sing a nice
markers.
ball?
Yeah, he passes the ball all right. Like he's sound. He's like a sound.
We
like,
haven't noticed it being
Yeah.
bad. That's kind of
but he's just going to solidify the middle. But just I think it does put a little bit of added pressure on Mitch Moses and Dill Brown to be creative. So Ray Stone playing 9.
Ryan Madison at 18 is really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm never a huge fan of the strong 13 moving into 9 just because he can pass. Like
I like him, but I think it's a way of.
I'm a Joey Lussick guy.
You know what it is? It's more of
last 2 weeks.
I think it's more of an indication of Ray Stone and Will Smith winning their spots to play.
Right.
Like I said last week, a few guys were put out there and. What are you going to be about? We're not going to win this game, but what are you going to show us? And BA would have loved that. Like the way that Will Smith and Ray Stone took that game on.
Makahisi Makatoa.
Makatoa, Mac Daddy.
I've played his Cook Island Ray. He's a good, funny guy.
Is he?
He's loose too. He can drink.
Yeah, he's Dill Brown's uncle too, like or his dad. So
he's in with the wrong crowd there.
Yeah, and the right crowd. The weaknesses for me is a bit similar to what I said. The inconsistency of the outside backs for the Knights. When you when Newcastle have their better games, Bradman Best is had a fucking day out. And KP's linked with him and they've done well. But that Penasini, man, is, I keep fucking talking about him all the time. He has changed the identity of that right edge. Like that, it's Fergie Ferg looks a little bit more comfortable when Penasini's he's not shooting out the line, because you know what? Penasini is a really good one-on-one defender, and he proved that against Olam a couple of weeks ago. So
it's good when you're young and you got your defense on lock straight away. It sets up your whole career, eh?
Bro, Bradman Best, fucking 19, 20 years old or whatever he is. Penasini marking up on him, 18. I believe he just turned 18. I'm looking forward to that battle, and I think Penasini's going to do a good job on him. Therefore, are they swinging the ball right and going to Kurt Mann against Walker Blake? I'm not too sold on that.
We haven't talked on Gutho yet. He'll be pumped, eh?
Yeah, Gutho, because I know what I'm going to get out of Gutho. So there's never any questions with me with Gutho. Gutho's going to give fucking an 80-minute performance.
1,000%.
1,000, yeah. So him and KP will have a good little battle, and I'm sure there'll be a little bit of banter. But that's my weakness. If they take away Bradman Best, I just don't really see that many points coming out of Newcastle.
Tuala's still scoring tries for fun over there.
He's a good winger, bro.
Yeah.
X Factor for you guys?
I'll go Nathan Brown for Para. I think he sets the tone. I don't reckon he's their best forward. I think Junior Paulo is still their best forward or their best player. But I just think if he gets going, very much like Victor Radley, he's kind of got that influence on the rest of the team. And if he gets going and gets going forward and direct when he carries as well, I think that sets him up. If they get a repeat set and he's the first guy carrying it off and he's coming off the back fence, I think that really sets the tone. I think it squares up Dylan Brown. I think it squares up Mitchell Moses. They just play a lot more north-south, which is really important in this game as well. So for me, it's on the other side, Connor Watson. I don't know, like we sort of talk about Kalen a lot. He's the other guy that can sort of got the X factor that can break in through the middle and set someone else up, and he'll run a line for you as well. So if the forwards are skipping across, he's got the footy IQ to sort of recognise space and make a dart line for that as well. So I think he's going to be really, really important.
Yeah, he straightens up nicely as well. Sometimes, if it's not on, he can skip across and play, which is dangerous. But
little nugget, bro. They're the worst people to tackle.
Awful. I'm going the Blues Brothers for my X Factor. Daniel Saifidi is back from his injury. He's a massive in for me.
I thought he was no chance. That was my
So did I. A couple of weeks ago when I seen him to go down holding his knee, I thought he was no chance. But with him back in, I would have given Newcastle probably not a chance. But with him, that's how much of a rap I've got on Daniel Saifidi going against his Blues brother, Junior Paulo. This game is going to be one in the meat and potatoes, right in the middle of these boys. Whoever performs, I think they're both going to perform, but whoever can lay the platform and potentially, play the ball for a fucking try that ends up getting scored a little bit wide out because they've skittled a couple of people, a bit like Big Nelson does for Melbourne, that sort of vibe. Whoever can do that the best for either team, that's going to be the X factor.
Who's the game's best prop right now? Payne? Still?
Fisher Harris for me, but Payne's right up there.
Saifidi would be top 3, not injured.
Oh,
I reckon.
yeah.
To be fair, I couldn't name one.
I'd go Fisher
over
Harris.
the other. I'd probably have a top 5 bracket
If Payne Haas is in a good side, he's number 1. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you ask me right now, I'd go Fisher Harris. But Saifidi and Haas are fucking right there. It's not.
I think so too.
They're all fucking
Yeah,
good.
I love Saifidi, man.
He loves himself a little meaty as well, Scott.
So does Jacob.
They both do.
So does Jacob.
The double play.
That'd be hard any time, mate. You're looking at them at the same time. Like, what the fuck is that?
Which one am I on?
Yeah.
Predictions, Ice?
Unfortunately, I have to go Eels. Would love the Knights to win. I think about a 26-10. Dylan Brown, anytime try scorer.
Ooh, I like that one.
I like that a lot.
I'm going Para 1-12.
$4
I think
for
it's
Dylan.
going to be a scrappy sort of affair, like I've talked about. Sunday, last game on, a little bit of pressure for both teams. I don't think either team will kick away or feel that comfortable until the Hooters sounded. And I like our boy who started the season really well, your boy, Jacko, Isaiah Papali'i, coming off the bench anytime try
Yeah,
scorer.
the guy stole my nickname. Yeah, cool.
I think he'll come off the bench, could be playing on the left edge, coming up against...
I think the inclusion of Makatoa on the bench suggests that
He'll
Ice
go
will be coming
edge.
onto the edge because he has been playing through the middle. But if they're picking Makatoa,
Yeah,
that's
Shawnee-
just, I don't
Fake
know.
eyes.
Shawnee Lane might go to the middle, but yeah,
Similar
Isaiah
carries.
Papali'i off the bench. For
So
any
he was
time.
did you say he was a weightlifter growing up?
Yeah, he's like, I'll get it. He was some like junior Commonwealth weightlifting champ, under 18s, Oceania fucking champ. Strong as fuck.
I seen Corin Horrell when he first come through in like 200 kgs on like no warm up, straight onto the squat bar, bro.
Fuck. He might have had the biggest quads I've seen in rugby league in a hot minute. Old fake Matty Utai.
Matty Utai had some big ones, eh?
Yeah. Height to quad ratio, Matty Utai, but Connie was fucking built.
Played tag with Matty Utai a couple of years back down in Granville, maybe. Fuck, still quick as,
Still got
bro.
it.
Low to the ground, having darts after the game. Grouse.
Used to play poker with Matty Utai back in the day all the time as well. Fuck, he's a gill, bro.
Yeah.
How do you explain him? It's probably for a off
Special character.
podcast, yeah.
Yeah, that's us. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys as always.